Welcome back everybody to Forza Motorsport, and today we're taking a look at the 2005 Honda NSX-R. So this is part of the first generation that lasted a staggering 15 years from 1990 to 2005. This version was first introduced in 1992, although this exact car that we're looking at today is part of the facelift version that happened in 2002. And this is quite godly in terms of, as far as sports cars or supercars, whichever one you want to categorize it as, goes, because it weighs practically nothing at only 2,800 pounds, and that is due to it using carbon fibre quite extensively throughout the car. It's also got lighter wheels, and it removed the air conditioning, audio system and sound insulation. You've also got lighter seats on the inside, which I do believe are Recaro seats, and as you can see from the interior, not all that well accompanied, to be honest, but then again, this is supposed to be a more track focused vehicle than the standard NSX, and as you can see, not much there to play around with, to be honest, which is kind of emblematic of the vision of this car, if we're being brutally honest in general. So but that's no bad thing, because you strip away the car, as we'll do now, and as you can see, got all the usual gubbins up front, and then a decent sized boot for a car of this size, and then its engine in the rear. So in addition to all of the lightened part of this car, you've still got a really rather quite aggressive rear spoiler. You've got a ventilated deck lid at the back there, as you can see. You've also got vents on the side, and you've also got a vented hood as well, which for the time had the largest single piece of carbon fibre on a production car, that hood with the vent on it there, which is quite impressive, to be honest. So I don't believe you can open the engine compartment without opening the boot first, maybe? I don't know. Oh, there we go. It's just very difficult to get it in there. So so the engine is the biggest engine that was ever offered for the NSX, and that is a 3.2 litre V6 engine, which produces 290 horsepower and 225 pounds-feet of torque. But considering that's the exact same amount of horsepower that you can get in a standard NSX, which granted does weigh more, so it's not going to be as fast, but considering it is the same amount of horsepower, a lot of people did assume or think that this car had more power than there was advertised, which I guess would, isn't the first time that's happened. Many muscle cars from the 60s and 70s, for instance, underrated their horsepower ratings to basically make their insurance more viable for people buying it. And given this car was hardly cheap, I think it was like £75,000, maybe even more than that at the time, I guarantee people would have been looking at any insurance and thinking that would be an even greater an additional unnecessary expense. So underrating the engine will have helped in that, but I have no doubt that it's probably generating more power than that, given they've done a great deal of work to make it as light as possible, to make it better handling, because it's got a lowered suspension, it's got tougher suspension as well, and you lighten a car that much, you want to also add a little bit of power into it to make the car even faster, as lack of weight plus power just makes the car way quicker than it ever would have been normally. So but still a fairly decent looking car. I've not always been the biggest fan of the facelift version of these cars. I do somewhat prefer the pop-up headlights versions of the NSX, but still a good looking car, and not one that was outclassed by other cars that were more powerful, as this did get around the Nürburgring in 7 minutes and 56 seconds, which was the exact same time as a Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale, which had more power from a bigger engine. So that's fairly impressive. But nonetheless, let's get out onto a track and see just what this car can do. Right, so since we mentioned it, we may as well go around Nürburgring Nordschleife, see if we can get anywhere near that 7 minute 56 time. We did come quite close when we tried this with the Porsche 911 GT3, let's see if we can do it with this Honda. So as per usual though, we'll let you hear the car for a bit, and then we'll talk about it some more. Well, I was going to wait until we got to the corner, but I clearly quite messed that corner up a little bit. Oh dear, we're doing it again. But yeah, nonetheless, I think this car overall sounds pretty damn good, to be honest. No, it's not quite as exotic sounding as, say, a Ferrari with those high revving V8s and such, but it's still an overall decent sounding engine, and this is still high revving as well. So yeah, plenty of performance is to be gained from the high revs, and the fairly good accelerating car as well, while the revs do come on quite quickly as well. So yeah, 0 to 60 is dealt with in 4.6 seconds, which is mostly down to the fact that it doesn't weigh anything. 0 to 100 is dealt with in 11.2 seconds, and it going to a really rather decent 177 mph top speed, which for a car with less than, well, reportedly less than 300 horsepower is really not that bad at all. And yeah, it's probably a combination of the lack of weight and the aerodynamics on this car that are working in tandem to help it get up to that kind of speed, because there are far more powerful cars out there that can't do that kind of top speed. So yeah, really impressive in that regard, and it's also impressive in terms of its handling, as you'd expect for a car that weighs only 2,800 pounds. Yeah, it really does feel planted. The brakes do not feel like they're under any pressure in terms of dealing with a lot of momentum to slow down, so you can really brake as late as possible, and you will still get pulled up in time to get around the corner. So yeah, it is mightily impressive, quite frankly, and it's just a shame that it really didn't get any more recognition, quite frankly. It seems at the time, it certainly didn't sell all that well, despite going on for like 15 years. The sales dropped off quite considerably around the 2000s came around, and I just think that's because, especially with versions like this, the price was just far too high. And at the end of the day, as great as the car is, it is still a Honda, and people are not going to be paying 75 grand for a Honda. It just doesn't have the badge to match the price, which was unfortunate, but it's understandable. You know, it's like a lot of those companies that come out of nowhere that make a great car, but because they have come out of nowhere, they are a car company that is unknown, the badge doesn't hold any weight. They generally have to be quite high priced because there's so few of them being made, and that's just like a double-edged sword, quite frankly. That yes, they are great cars, but they're also unknown and therefore have to be high priced. So yeah, and even though obviously Honda is not an unknown name brand, they weren't really known for making high priced sports cars like this. So yeah, you can understand why they dropped it after 2005, and it didn't make a comeback until the mid-2010s with the new version, which was radically different to this one. All-wheel drive, hybrid system, a lot heavier as well, nowhere near as focused on lightweight construction like this one is. But still, it is really rather a fantastic sports car, and one that really is at home at the track, especially in this version, which yeah, was reportedly not very easy to live with on a day-to-day basis, with its rock-hard suspension, lack of power steering, which especially at low speeds around town made it really rather quite a tiring car to drive apparently. So yeah, not one for the road in general, but it does eat up the track, as you can see here. Probably not going to match the 7 minutes and 56 that was set quite a while ago, which to be honest is really rather remarkable to get that little amount of time out of a car with this amount of horsepower is astonishing, to be honest. But again, does it really only have 290 horsepower? It's not something that I've been able to find out if that's properly accurate or just Honda underselling it for lots of insurance purposes, but still, there's no doubt that it is a quick car, especially to 60, which again just shows how big of a difference reducing weight can do for a car when it comes to acceleration. Now granted, the newer version is quicker, has way more power, has all-wheel drive to get it off the line, but yeah, if that car weighed, even close to the amount of this, then it would be even faster, and no doubt better in terms of the corners as well, but I'll leave talking about that car until we get the Type S version of it, when we eventually unlock it by doing all of the 20th anniversary tour championships. Looking forward to seeing what that car's like, because I am mostly a fan of the older version that we already have on this game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they've done to improve it that bit more. Which you'd expect it to have had some improvements, much like this car was improved over its 15-year lifetime. Although quite clearly not enough to make it a sales success, but the fact that a 15-year-old base for this car was able to go around this track as quick as it was is remarkable, and it just shows how, you know, flexible the car was to being modified by Honda to improve it over time, and, you know, make this version as good as it could be, that despite being 15 years old, it's still a really good basis. And when you lighten it and give it, you know, the full fat 290 horsepower engine, it is a recipe for greatness, quite frankly. So yeah, but we're not going to beat that time. As you can see, we're only 30 seconds off, and we're still going to go all the way down this straight. So the fact that the car was able to go as quick as it was, and I don't think we've been particularly slow, even with me doing commentary, as just shows how great the driver was that got it round, and how great the car was in general as well. So yeah, here we go, getting to the final few corners. Not the fastest at the top end, which is really what hampers this car in a lot of ways. We're less than 20 seconds off that time, so I don't think that's too bad, to be honest. But yeah, the car is fantastic. I'm really glad that it was the main focus for the first championship in that 20th anniversary tour, as it isn't one that I generally have driven much in the past. But yeah, I am glad it was part of that, the main focus of that championship, as it has given me some new appreciation of this car, and I'm glad that it's fully viewable in this game as well. So yeah, all in all, a really rather great car, and a really fun one to drive around a track as well. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.